Good afternoon. I guess for some of you, it might be morning if you're listening from BC. It's afternoon now in Saskatchewan. So if you're watching live, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if it's from Saskatchewan, Ontario, BC. I know I have followers from kind of all over. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and on what platform. I see now that I think I fixed the issue with Facebook not showing the comments. So it looks like I now have that figured out because I can see my comment. I guess I'm going to have to go change that. In Facebook, it gives you an option of doing an automatic comment. And it had one of the things, send stars to show your support. I don't know what that means. But I had just clicked that because I wanted to see if it was going to work. But I guess it just automatically puts it there. So yeah, if let me know where you're watching from, what platform, and where from. I today I have so much to cover, but first I should start with welcome to your daily dose of salt and light with me, Nadine Ness. I'm going to be covering quite a lot today. I'm hoping to keep it under an hour long. We're going to be clipping some of these videos and posting them separately on YouTube as well for shorts because for some reason YouTube doesn't do really good for live streaming as in getting it in front of the eyes of people who don't subscribe or already follow me. I think also that I fixed the sound issue. My husband said it was because of I have like Focusrite. I can't show it to you guys that the mic feeds into. And I guess the sound was really too loud. So I lowered the sound because it was happening when I was talking really loud. So if I get closer to the mic like this, it might do it. Let me know if it's scratching or if it's done doing it. If it's still doing it, I might just lower the volume a bit. StreamYard does adjust the volume when you're using it anyways. Like they have a setting that you can click that will adjust the volume, but I don't want it to crackle anymore because if anyone's like me, my ADHD can't handle it. I can't watch things with bad sound. It just distracts me too much. So yeah, we have a lot to cover. I tried to include a little bit more as well. I'm not going to show. Oh, it's still scratching. Let's see if I lower it a bit more. Was it scratching when I went close to the mic, or what is it scratching all the time? Maybe I'll move the mic away from me. I'm curious too if it scratches when I'm watching like videos and stuff. Like I don't hear it in my ears, but my husband said it's when the sound is too much for the computer, it gives you an issue like he called it something. I just don't know what it's called. He's the geek in the marriage. He's the one that knows all of the techie stuff. So he's been helping me figure this out because it's not my forte. So I did lower it. Can you still hear me? And is it still scratching? I lowered my mic too. We'll see what the comment says. Either way, I don't know if I'll be able to fully fix it right now, but I'm going to get into the show and I'll wait for someone to comment to let me know if it's working okay. There is so a lot of the stuff that I'm going to cover will be stuff that's on Twitter because I feel like that's where you get the most up-to-date information and it's a great source to find information. It's where I go to find what I'm going to talk about as well in my show. So the first subject it's the biggest one that I think a lot of people are talking about, and it's the funniest one. I even brought a prop. So for this one, I brought myself a tinfoil hat. So I'm pre-warning you. This is the tinfoil hat coverage. I won't leave it on. That's probably going to be used later on. Someone's going to screenshot that. But it's a tinfoil hat, but at the same time, there are things that are happening that was predicted. So I'll share my screen with you guys so you know what I'm talking about. Is there an alien invasion happening today? Now, why are people talking about that. Well, there was, I'll read it to you for the listeners who can't see the screen, who are just listening in. A man who made an AI predicted an AI that predicts things, predicted the 2004 tsunami in Indonesia, says there'll be an alien invasion on December 3rd, 2024. Well, that's not exactly what it said. Basically, they said it's going to happen 39 days after Trump goes and gets interviewed on Joe Rogan. And this was predicted long before Joe Rogan was doing podcasts. So this was like a long time ago. I do have a video, but I thought I'd share this with you guys because I find this kind of stuff entertaining. My husband even more so. But okay, so Cliff High is a computer scientist known for creating a predictive system called predictive linguistic. Using a software tool called web bots highly analyze vast amount of internet data, particularly focusing on the emotional content of words and forecast potential future events. His method, which he started developing in the late 90s, can you guys still see that? Yeah. Here, I'll just scroll up a bit. Has been credited with predicting significant events, including the 2004 tsunami in Indonesia. High's system works by detecting language patterns that seem to foreshadow significant global shifts, such as political events, natural disaster, and societal change. Although not all his predictions have come true, his method has garnered attention for its statistical success, particularly in predicting major incident like 9/11 attack. I didn't know that. So it predicted the 9/11 attack. Cliff High returns to discuss his latest data, Humanity Wins, Dark Times History Revealed. So I'm not going to play this, but I guess this is an interview. So they're saying that this was predicted to happen. Oh, it's kind of clarifying it here. He forecasted that following an appearance by Donald Trump on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, humanity would experience a major extraterrestrial, I don't know if I'm saying right, with the invasion expecting to occur precisely 39 days after the podcast episode. So that is today. So there's also a video that I want to play with for you guys. So I'm just going to switch it over here to video. There you go. And we get to listen to it. Is it still scratching or is it better? I'm not hearing people saying it's still scratching. So hopefully it's fixed. But let's listen to this video. Oh, so this was before Donald Trump even ran. Oh, there's no sound playing with the video? Oh, that's annoying. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Maybe here. This is the joy of doing everything live. It doesn't always work. Oh, there you go. I had forgotten to click a thing. Okay. So we're gonna play this again. Thanks for being patient with me. There you go. There should be
I have a really weird story. So this guy, his name is Cliff High. It was 1997. He developed this software program called WebBot. And what it would do, it would scan the entire internet, collect data. It would make predictions for the stock market. But then he delved into it a little more. It's just like, let's see like what else it can predict. In 2009, it came up with a prediction of the future that there was going to be a battle in the air with the military and UFOs, and that even UFOs would be fighting UFOs.
Whoa.
But there had to be a trigger to
Set it in motion.
Yeah, set it in motion. It said that when this trigger happens, then 39 days later, this prediction will come true. Here's the crazy part. 2009. The trigger was Donald Trump would be interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Bro, no.
Nuh-uh.
No way, dude. That's crazy.
I have a really weird story.
So it's it may happen. I guess time will tell, and then we'll know if this theory or this guy who predicts thing will be accurate. I don't know. There's been a lot more talks in the last few years about aliens and alien existence. But it's funny, it says UFOs will be attacking UFOs and then the army will be in the air. I'm wondering if maybe it was describing like World War III. When I was watching this, I was thinking, could this be World War III starting? Things that maybe back then we didn't understand what it would look like. I don't know. But I guess time will tell. I'm not saying I believe this, but I have questions. I told everyone that was going to be my tagline for this show when I talk about things that you're like, I don't know. But I live in the middle of nowhere. So maybe this would be a spot that it would happen. But if it was to happen, it kind of makes you wonder, where would it be? I think it would be in the US. I think it's more likely to be there, especially since the item that was supposed to start it was related to the US. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Today is December 3rd. This is the day it's supposed to happen. So I'll put away my tinfoil hat now. Okay, so next item is another thing that's being talked about a lot. I'm just going to get it ready here to play on the screen. If
And tonight we're getting
it. Get it ready. So yesterday I talked about the Donald Trump Trudeau relationship, how it's been rocky in the past. Trudeau had just flown to Mar-a-Lago this week, and he had supper with Trump and a lot of people there. And we weren't 100% sure everything that was discussed, but now we got a little bit more information as to some of the things that Trump has said. So I'm going to play it for you guys, and then I'll share my thoughts on what I think it looks like, what I think happened, and what my thoughts are on what this means for Canada. And I'll share kind of the response that I've noticed online from these few things. But here you go. I'll get it going here.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Right.
Of more on that detail with the panel. Peter, thank you.
So even it's hilarious seeing even the response of the newscaster. I can't remember this guy's name. He's always at the White House. If somebody knows his name, is it Peter? I think it's Peter. Anyways, he's always at the White House, and he's the only one asking Karine Jean-Pierre all the tough questions. So I actually find him quite entertaining. Anyways, but I think it's Peter. I'm not 100% sure. If you know, say it in the comments. And is my sound still scratching, or is it better now? Peter Ducey. Is that how you say it? Peter Ducey? I think it's Ducey. Yeah. Exactly. I love that guy. And so yeah, apparently at the table, and there's a little bit more information as well. Oh, it's still scratchy. Let's see if this helps it. I'm not even sure how to fix it. Can you guys hear me? Or now, can you even not hear me at all? Oh, maybe this is better. I hear something else completely here. Let's see. I think it's working now. I'm trying to figure out which one. Okay, so if I talk, it's that one. Okay, I have another mic here that's open, so maybe that's what was causing the issues. Now, did I fix it? Or is it still intermittently scratching? I may lower the output. Oh, it sounds clean. Okay, so you know what I bet it is? I bet it was I have like a second spot for a mic and there's no mic connected to that. And I had it like that really loud, even though there's nothing connected to it. Okay, so hopefully I fixed it. And let me know if it starts again. I won't touch it. If it's working fine, I won't touch it, and hopefully we'll be okay. I also hear it much clearer in my earphones now. So hopefully it'll work out okay. Yeah, so that's what we heard a little bit, but there was actually a little bit more being talked about, and I'm wondering, it's in the next video that I'm going to share with you guys here. So this was on Fox News as well. So
last week
here. So hopefully you can hear this one. So they gave a little bit more details. Basically, someone said, but then it's just going to be a blue state, like a Democrat state. And Trump was like, okay, maybe we'll split it in two. So, and then I'll tell you what I think about all of this.
Last week, Trump made clear that his tariff threats are going to become a reality for any country that isn't pulling its weight. For Canada and Mexico, that means a 25% tariff on all exports if they don't crack down on the drugs and migrants bum rushing our borders. Justin Trudeau knows Trump means business. So he took a flight down to Mar-a-Lago on Blackface Friday to prove he is ready to play ball.
Okay, wait a minute. Did you hear that? I guess yeah, when he flew down, that was Blackface Friday. I have not heard about that. I'm gonna just ask ChatGPT quick. When is Blackface Friday? And is that a thing? Oh, okay. It's not a thing. So you guys are learning with me. It's not a thing. It was Black Friday. So not Blackface Friday. So this is Jesse Waters is just adding more drama to his reporting. So it's not actually a thing. It was Black Friday. But he said Blackface Friday because in the US, they all know Trump was caught several times with wearing blackface. You would think that would be a political career death, but it's not. He just everything that he does that's controversial, scandals, he just gets away with it, and that's no different. But anyways, I thought that was funny. I had noticed that before. Not Trump. No, someone said Trudeau, not Trump. Trump's never worn blackface. Trudeau has on several occasions, more than he can remember. When someone asked him how many times, he doesn't know. More than he can remember. So yeah, not Trump. Trudeau flew down to see Trump on Black Friday, but Jesse called it Blackface Friday.
Was it a productive meeting with President-elect?
It was an excellent conversation.
And Fox has exclusive details about how that Mar-a-Lago sit-down went. The two talked tariffs over crab cocktail and oysters. At one point, Trump told Trudeau to get our trade deficit under control, telling the prime minister it is unacceptable for the U.S. to run up to like $100 billion trade deficit. And if they don't, they can expect a flat 25% tariff on all Canadian goods day one. Trudeau apparently wasn't thrilled. Sacre bleu, you will kill our economy, he said. Then Trump said if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S., they're free to join America as our 51st state. When someone at the table pointed out that that would probably be a pretty Democrat state, Trump says we'll split Canada in two, the conservative side and the liberal side, to keep it fair electorally. And if Justin wants to stick around, he can be Canada's governor. Everybody laughed, but most importantly, it got results. Canada's ambassador to the United States says the country's already talking about beefing up their border security. Watch.
What's the biggest thing that Prime Minister Trudeau promised President-elect Trump that he will try to achieve in the next few months or year?
I think that it's more infrastructure. So more surveillance, more helicopters, potentially more infrastructure at the border. Again, these are things that we were thinking of doing on our own anyway, just because secure borders are essential. But I think now we're going to be able to talk a bit with the incoming administration about how we coordinate on that.
Oh, yes. They were already planning on securing the border all along. They just didn't get around to it until Trump told them to.
So I don't think it's a secret that Canada has been really weak on immigration, illegal immigration, as well as border control. So do I think Trump is going to invade Canada and make Canada the 51st state? No, I don't think. See, that's the thing. Everything always gets taken out of context. I see this more like as a running joke because this is what Trump does. He says joke. I'm pretty sure Trudeau also took it as a joke. I don't think he went home and beefed up the army. Even the back and forth seemed to be very joking. But anyways, a lot of people who have continued that joke have been posting on X and on other platform about this Canada becoming the 51st state. I've weighed in on it. So one of the things here, if you can see, if America invades Canada, I will fight back. I will help them. I will do nothing. There's been at other points as well. Do you support Canada being the 51st state? So this has 13,000 votes. So 46% said I will help them. 24% said I will fight back. And 29% says I will do nothing. So that the 29%, that's like 75% of the population that's basically going to allow it to happen. Now, I don't think everyone who's answering this is answering this hypothetic, like in actual reality, that's what would happen. I think it says a much stronger message. It sends a message that a lot of Canadians are really disenfranchised with our current government. And I talked about this with some of my friends too. We don't feel like we're ever going to get rid of Trudeau. It seems he gets away with everything. He could tomorrow probably decide to change the legislation so that there isn't even an election in 2025. And people are basically saying, please, yes, come save us from tyrannical Trudeau. And I think we seem to forget that there's a lot of people that are very disenfranchised with what has happened in the last few years, especially during COVID, and they're comparing themselves to the states. Yes, you had a few states that were insane, but the majority of the US was very pro-freedom, is very pro-freedom. They're seeing a lot of hope out of what is coming out of the US, even some of the new announcement that's happening that I'm going to talk about later on in this episode. And they're saying, yeah, we want some of that here in Canada. I think that's what that means. I know there's a bunch of conservatives that have weighed in and said, you're not you're not a patriot if you don't like Canada. Actually, one of them is right here. And there's been more than that too. I don't think this is realistically a picture of people not wanting to be Canadian. I think it's a picture of how many people are disenfranchised with our current government. So, and I've seen even people dump on other conservative who's saying, yes, like it's a joke, guys. Like, it was a joke when Trump said it. It was a joke when Trudeau responded. It's a joke when people do these things. Like, we have to stop getting so offended by what everyone does. And even just seeing the people getting all offended, well, you don't love Canada, you don't care about Canada. It's a joke. I said the same joke. I said, you know what? I don't want that to happen, being a 51st state, because that means and I wrote it in error. I mean, I said this would be a red state, but I meant to say blue state. I confused the liberals and the Democrats in the US. I said, I don't want to be part of one state that's just constantly blue, uh, as in Democrat. So let's split it. We're going to have Alberta, Saskatchewan, parts of Manitoba, and parts of BC, and even parts of Northern Ontario would be great too. And that'll be one state, and the other state can be the rest. Again, it's a joke. Like, the fact that some people are taking this seriously and accusing people of not being patriotic is so ridiculous to me. And I think we just need to take life a little less serious sometimes. There's a lot of dark stuff happening, a lot of stuff we're not happy with, that we should be able to say a joke once in a while without people like screaming, "Oh, you're not Canadian," or "You don't like being Canadian," or "You're not patriotic." I don't know how many times I've joked about this. There's things that I admire about the US. I admire how they fight for their freedom. I like a lot of their gun rights stuff that we don't necessarily have in Canada. We're seeing an encroachment on that. We're seeing more and more the liberal government coming in and taking our gun rights, property rights, same thing like that. There are things that I don't like about Canada that I prefer about the US, but there's a million things I love about Canada that the US doesn't necessarily do the best at. But I love going to the US. I love that they have warmer weather, especially when it's like super cold in Canada. I like to escape in the winter once in a while and get some sun, especially when the days are super short. But yeah, so here you go. I'm just going to go back to, I'm trying to get, we have so much to cover. Okay, next topic is this one. So this is like the response a bit. So basically, a town decided they weren't going to celebrate Pride, and then some people decided to take them to court and lost in court. So I'm going to see if I have the full article. And then they were fined. They were fined, I think this one here. An Ontario town and its mayor have been fined a total of, here, I got to move it around. When it's Twitter and other articles, a bit different. A total of $15,000 for refusing to celebrate Pride Month. In a decision November 20th, the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario and the town of Emo ordered the town of Emo to pay $10,000 and Mayor Harold McQuacker to pay $5,000 to Borderland Pride for violating human rights code and discrimination against the organization. Basically, the tribunal has ordered the town mayor and CAO to complete human rights training. The issue began in 2020 when Borderland Pride requested the town celebrate June as Pride Month and fly or display an LGBTQ2S+ flag for a week during the month of June. Borderland Pride's proclamation was brought forward at May 2020 council meeting, and then Council Lincoln Dunn. The resolution was defeated 3-2. The explicit reason that they did not adopt our proclamation was obviously tied to the sexual orientation and gender identity issues attached to Pride, said Borderland Pride and Director Douglas Johnson. Generally, this is a non-controversial thing, but it's an important signal in a small community. So basically, they didn't fly the flag. Now, the mayor has since responded, says he refused to be bullied to pay a fine for not flying the pride flag. I've seen a lot of gay like LGBTQ people on Twitter weigh in on this as well. There there's two sides to the LGBTQ groups. There's a side that says, yeah, we shouldn't be forcing this on people, and there's the side that wants to force this on people. This is a classic case of wanting to force things on people. So the mayor says he's not going to take the training either. I don't know if you guys saw maybe a few months ago, there was a lady that was made, she's a MLA in Alberta, that she was kicked out of the caucus during the election. She still won the election, and she's back into the UCP caucus, but she was made to take a training, and it was just total bullying from this trans activist. You can clearly see it's a trans activist, and just the video made international news, and she was added back to the UCP, the United Conservative Party in Alberta, shortly after. So this is just another case of that. I don't think they realize this is not going to help their cause. I think this is going to create more animosity and hatred towards those in the LGBTQ community. The more they push for this kind of stuff, the more they push the sexualization of children, teaching all these really young kids about gender identity, the more they push that, the more there's going to be pushback. And you're already seeing acceptance of the LGBTQ going down. It was going up, 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 and now it's starting to go down. It's because of exactly reasons like this. So yeah, we'll see what will happen. I'm just going to see what else he said. Yes, he's not going to be bullied into paying the $5,000 penalty, nor will he take the training. McQuacker insisted he won't cave to demands that he must hold a drag time story hour in the local library either. So that was another thing. They wanted him to host a drag story hour in the local library. I weighed in on this back during COVID. And some people disagreed with my take. Some people agreed with it. Some people disagreed it from both sides. There was a drag queen story time happening at Wonder Hub in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. There was protests organized by several groups of people, and we kept being asked, is Unified Grassroots going to participate? So I am the president of an organization called Unified Grassroots. It's a conservative type nonprofit organization that lobbies for several things. We were started during COVID, so that should give you an idea. We're pro-freedom. We were against a lot of the things that was happening during COVID, especially the vaccine passports. And we weren't anti-vax. We were just against forcing it on people. And now this subject came up, and some of you may have been following me from way back when. I'm just going to switch back to the main screen here. So while I explain the situation, some of you may have been following me from way back then. I weighed in on this. I'm pro freedom. If people want to participate in those kinds of stuff, all the more to them. But where my line is when somebody else's freedom starts affecting my freedom. I've explained this as well. I had similar issues with blocking borders and stuff. I'm pro freedom, but once your freedom starts infringing on other people's freedom, then there's a line that it crossed. So there was a drag queen story time. I actually looked into it. I asked, what are the books that are going to be read? Who's going to be there? What are they going to be dressing? So there was like pictures of drag queen, like half naked on the flyers, like some of the more extreme drag queens that you would have seen at like bars at strip joints and stuff like that on the flyers. That's not who was going to be there. The books weren't the books that were really awful, sexualizing children. And my thoughts on it was, and I also talked to some people from within the community that's not okay with a lot of the stuff that's happening. And I said, what are your thoughts on that? And they said it's really hard for them to find people who are families like them. Like I have some friends who are lesbians and they have children. And yes, it does happen. There's certain IVF stuff like that can happen. And she said those kinds of events is where we go to meet other families like ours, where we can meet families that resemble. I don't know why it timed out there. I am a Christian, so that doesn't change. But I also believe God's greatest gift to humankind was free will. And he wants us to choose him, not to be forced into following him, and not being programmed into following him. So it's the same thing. If your children were programmed to love you, it wouldn't be the same as them loving you because they do. So yeah, I talked to them. I talked to the people putting it on. I said we wouldn't be participating. We have some discussions to be had when it comes to this being forced on us. So I talked about how if there was drag queen story time happening in my children's school and then my children being forced to attend, that I have issues with. I would also have issues with if the content that was being read, even if it doesn't involve my children, if it was highly sexualized content, that would be basically grooming children. That's not what I saw in that particular case. So I take every case individually and I evaluate everything individually. And as an organization, we decided we weren't going to participate in the counter protests. However, we had issues when a lot of this stuff started being shoved down the throat in our schools in Saskatchewan, which happened right around the same time, and we started raising awareness. So if you follow me on Twitter, you will know that I'm one of the ones in Saskatchewan that's been raising awareness to all the sexualized content, all the inappropriate stuff that was happening in the school. I did a 18-minute expose on third-party organization that appeared to have ties to pedophile activism, trying to infiltrate our sexual education in the school. I exposed that. But like I said, adults can do whatever they want. If they want to go to an event that doesn't have sexual material and the people reading are dressed more appropriate, like fully covered, it's to each their own. If families want to do that, fine. The issue that I have is when it starts affecting children because they are shown inappropriate sexual content because and you've seen that many times, drag queens dancing provocatively, getting money and getting children to dance. There's a lot of that happening, and that's absolutely outrageous. Would I ever bring my own children to a drag queen story time? No, I don't think it's appropriate for children at all, my children. But I also get the view of my friend who shared her experience with me. I think there's better ways if you're trying to find people from that community. Oh, my mic is still scratchy. I might be talking too loud. I'll just lower it a bit more. I don't know how else I'm going to fix this. Is it doing it a lot or just randomly? Let me know. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. Do what you want, but when you start infringing on my rights, my family's rights, our beliefs, our values, then I have issues. And that's when you'll start seeing me really start speaking up. And if you're actually hurting children and showing them sexualized content, that I have issues. But not every book is doing that. And we can't just lump all of them into that. I like to actually look for myself. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that particular subject. Let's go to the next. Okay. So this one I find actually quite shocking. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so Delaware judge just overruled a supermajority of shareholders who own Tesla and who voted twice to pay Elon Musk what he's worth. And this is coming from Tesla. The court's decision is wrong and we're going to appeal it. This ruling, if not overturned, means that judge and plaintiffs' lawyers run Delaware companies rather than their rightful owners, the shareholders. So just so you know, Delaware is one of those states where a lot of companies register because of the tax. I'm just realizing you're not seeing the entire thing. So I'll just amend it. Because of the tax breaks that they get in that state. So, and some of them are positioned and situated there for other reasons too. Obviously, it's not all tax breaks, but yeah, if so Delaware is one of those places. Now, I also had open here. I wanted to explain to you exactly what this means and why it's a big deal. So, and I kind of asked ChatGPT what the information is on this. So Tesla board, so this would have happened in 2018. Elon said, I'm not going to take any payments unless I do these things. And at the time, if he did these things, the payment would have been much less than what it is now. So it wasn't tied to actual money. It was tied to like stock and stuff. So this is what I'll read out what ChatGPT came with. So Tesla's board approved a compensation package for Elon. I'm just going to lower it here. Valued at approximately $56 billion, contingent upon him achieving specific performance milestone. The package was structured to grant Musk stock options in 12 tranches, each linked to escalating targets for Tesla's market capitalization, revenue, and earnings before interest, depreciation, and amortization. So for Musk to fully vest in the compensation, Tesla's market value needed to reach $650 billion, alongside meeting the financial benchmark. And I'm just going to say, nobody thought he was going to be able to do it. When they signed this, Tesla wasn't a very big company. It was nowhere near that. The shareholders, the board members thought that we're basically going to have Elon Musk for free running this organization or this business, and we're likely never going to reach that. Now Elon is not one to not try everything he can. He reached that. Now, and then they decided they were going to do a payout. In January, Delaware Court Chancery Judge Kathleen McCormick, I'll show you guys who she is quickly here. This is the next one. This lady basically said, Elon's not going to get the payment. The judgment just happened. I just got to find the description again. Where did it go? Here it is, I think. Yeah. Rescinded the pay package, citing concerns over its approval process and the board's independence, describing some as unfathomable and unfair to shareholders. So just so you know, this was like one shareholder that had like almost no shares that took it to court, and she just ran with it. It wasn't like the majority of shareholders decided we weren't going to do it. It was one person. Following this decision, Tesla shareholders reapproved the compensation plan in June 2024, with 72% voting in favor. So basically, they reissued it, they took it to the shareholders to go to a vote, and 72% voted in favor. Judge McCormick maintained that the reapproval did not rectify the original issue. So basically, at first she was saying, well, it was kind of shady the way it was done before. Now they do it all over again with all the new shareholders since then. They vote 72% in favor, and now she's maintaining that we're not going to apply it, that it's not rectifying the original issue, and the package remained void. Tesla and Musk have the option to appeal the decision to the Delaware Supreme Court. So then it's going to go from, and Elon Musk has said he's going to appeal it. So why is this a big deal? And why am I talking about this? So this is a classic case of government. I'm just going to switch the screen again. This is a classic case of government overpowering free enterprise. This is a classic case of government being political and in doing so damaging free enterprise, damaging Tesla. So even after that decision, the stocks for Tesla went down. So and if they can do it with Tesla, they can do it with any other organization. And somebody made a statement which is very accurate here. I'm just going to see. And not only did the judge make that decision, the judge told Tesla that they had to pay attorneys $445 million. So now Tesla has to pay the attorneys who fought this $445 million. Even that in itself is completely ridiculous. But yeah, someone had said a statement here. So if this ruling is not overturned, it means that judges and plaintiffs, lawyers run Delaware companies. So basically, it's not company owners that run the company anymore. It's judges and people who sue companies. I think it's going to give a lot more people what's not courage, but the desire to sue companies over issues like this. And in the US, it's one of the things about the US that I find is worse than Canada. In the US, everyone sues everyone for so many reasons, and quite often they'll win. And it's one of the things in the US that I think should be revamped or re-evaluated, because I think so many people's lives are ruined over being sued, even when in Canada it would never fly. You're seeing that happen so much in the US. It's one of the things that I find is better in Canada. Still not perfect in Canada, but it's better. Next subject. And I talked about this yesterday. I talked about Trump appointing Kash Patel as the new director of the FBI. So Kash has demanded massive declassifications. And I talked about why I thought that was like a really good news for human trafficking, for victims of sexual abuse. And I talked about the Epstein list, but I didn't talk about the P. Diddy list as well. So he would basically declassify all of that. Everything would be out in the open. And so I really hope that he gets confirmed. So before Trump appointees can get in that position, the Senate needs to confirm them. So basically a majority has to say, yeah, we approve this appointment. So, and then DeSantis, which I absolutely love.
But what do you say to the senators
here? You can probably hear some of it in the background. But DeSantis addressed this as well. So I'll just play the video instead of reading. He's on Fox News with Laura Ingraham being interviewed. So I just got to switch that up again here. Here you go. Hopefully you got, oh, this is the wrong screen. Give me 1 second. There you go. Here you go. We'll listen to it together. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, so I'm listening to it with you guys.
But what do you say to the senators on Capitol Hill that are already quietly vowing to put up roadblocks to the president's choice to be FBI director, Kash Patel? What do you say to them given the outcome of this election?
So, one, I think you do owe the president a great deal of deference on his picks. Kash Patel understands the problems with the FBI, and he is a reformer that will not be captured by the bureaucrats. Contrast that to our current FBI director, Christopher Wray. We remember when he got appointed back in 2017, he immediately became a company man and was captured by that institution. He has not reformed it in any way, shape, or form. And so I actually think Kash has a lot of very significant experience that's important here. But put that aside, you can be the smartest guy in the world. You could have all this experience. If you don't understand that the institution needs to be reformed, if you get captured, then you're done. You're not going to be effective. And so I think Donald Trump in this pick and others, he's making sure he's getting people who have the proper posture to these institutions. These are not the revered institutions that they may have been 30 years ago. These are very problematic institutions. Kash understands that. I think a lot of Republican senators understand that, but apparently not enough do.
Do you expect him to get confirmed, Governor?
I do.
All right. Governor DeSantis, thank you so much. Great to see you as always. But what do you...
So he talks about Kash and his background, and I wanted to see if I can grab the press release. I was going to show it the other day, but I forgot about that too. So I'm just going to search for it quickly because I was really impressed, but I don't want to speak out of place either when I'm trying to find the Kash Patel Trump press release. If somebody has it, if you have it like right in front of you, feel free to post it. Sometimes it comes easy and sometimes it doesn't. Okay. I don't find it here, but I really wanted to go over it. Trump announces Okay, I found it. Here, I'll share it with you guys. I'm proud to announce that Kash Patel will serve as the next director of the FBI. Kash is a brilliant lawyer, investor, and America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. He played a pivotal role in uncovering the Russia hoax, standing as an advocate for truth, accountability, in the Constitution. Kash did an incredible job during my first term where he served as Chief of Staff of the Department of Defense, Deputy Director of National Intelligence, and Senior Director for Counterterrorism at the National Security Council. Kash has also tried over 60 jury trials. This FBI will end the growing crime epidemic in America, dismantle the migrant criminal gangs, and stop the evil scourge of human and drug trafficking across the border. Kash will work under our great Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to bring back fidelity, bravery, and integrity to the FBI. So I think it's a great pick. I think a lot of people do, but I know that some people have been trying to stop Trump from being able to put the people he's picked as in the position that he's picked them for. So there was a guy, I'm having a brain fart with his name, because he talked about the Attorney General Pam Bondi. So Pam wasn't the first one he put up forward to become the Attorney General. Is it Matt? I can't remember the name. I can see his face. Attorney. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, Matt Gaetz. So that's what I wanted to say the other day that I didn't get to cover was his background. and stuff. I love that he's saying, let's open up the Epstein list. Let's open up the the P. Diddy files. The fact that that's not been released yet is shocking to me. The fact that there hasn't been more arrests, like in a human trafficking case, you always have who the buyer was, like who the client was. Usually they get charged as well. The people who bought, when you have human trafficking, that the charge is that Maxime, oh, what's her last name? Not Epstein. I think she's Maxine. Why am I having such a hard time? Giselle Maxwell. That's the word I was getting wrong. Giselle Maxwell. Yeah. Nobody knows who she was selling these children to, who they were trafficked to. That's never come out. That to me is ridiculous. I haven't seen cases like that in Canada where you don't know who the buyer was. Usually they get charged, usually they get involved. Now, the next subject I'm going to talk about, yes, I'm talking about a lot of the stuff that's happening in the US because I do believe it's going to have an effect on Canada. And I'm just really connected to US politics. I have a lot of friends down there. So I cover that too. And Canadians want to know too. So one of the things that I talked about yesterday was Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter Biden for a bunch of crimes. Now there's been a response from Donald Trump since. Does the pardon given to by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been imprisoned for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. What he's talking about, we're seeing that more and more. I like a lot of people, when we were seeing the evidence that was happening, I don't agree with going into buildings and causing destruction or being violent and stuff, but we're noticing a lot more details come out as to what actually happened on January 6th. It's not what is being portrayed, and that's not a conspiracy theory. There's so many shady, corrupt stuff that has happened, and the way that the people have been treated, who some people were just there. They weren't even inside the Capitol. They were just there. They're being hunted and targeted. I've been to protests. I don't agree with violence. I don't agree with embarging or going into like basically a building, a government building, the way they portrayed it to go. And I do know sometimes you can be guilty by association just by being there. It's being a third party to the offense. But when you see what has happened, it's gone beyond that. It's gone to the point where they have targeted people just because of their political affiliation. They have become political prisoners. I fully believe that, especially when you see the evidence that there was a lot of law enforcement undercover enticing them to come. There's been a lot of evidence erased. You don't erase stuff you're not trying to hide. You don't get rid of all of the evidence unless you have something to hide. And we're noticing that happening. It's been talked about on even mainstream media. It's been talked about Tucker Carlson as well. So anyways, one of those situations, I know a lot happened that went wrong, but I also know it's not what it's being portrayed to be. The American people are being lied to. So Trump said that. And then this guy who seems to be lacking brain cells. I'm going to try to be nice here. Pardon Hunter, great. Now pardon everybody else, every prosecutor, every Biden administration staffer, every media figure, everybody Trump will persecute. 10 million pardons at least. And Gunther, who follows me, said, "Are you admitting there are over 10 million criminals in DC?" Like seriously, does this guy not realize what he just said? So I thought that was like a perfect response. So good on you, Gunther. But it just goes to show they know it. They know there's criminals, and and they just want to use Biden, or they want Biden to just make it all go away. That is scary. That is a miscarry of justice. But even Biden pardoning his own son is miscarrying justice. I shared my thoughts on that yesterday. My very strong opinions on that. Now, last thing, I'm going to go a bit light for the next topic, and then I'll end the show with this. So, the reason I'm sharing this tweet, I don't know if this vehicle belongs to Jagmeet Singh. It might. It looks like it may, but I wanted to search too. I know Maserati or Maserati. I think I'm saying it right. SUV cost. I think that's an SUV, or is it a car? So I don't know what kind of vehicle that is, but Maserati costs between 103,000 and 190,000. So this is what Corey Morgan, if you don't follow Corey, he writes and does video for the Western Standard. And he says, we used to have champagne socialists, then caviar communists. Jagmeet the Week says, hold my beer, and creates the Maserati Marxist. I thought that was a really clever tweet, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But yeah. Someone said it's a gift from his boyfriend Trudeau. I don't know if that's right, but anyways, I wanted to share tweets. I'll sometimes share clever tweets that I find entertaining and interesting with you guys. And I think that is it for today. This ends kind of covering what is happening. If you know of other things that are happening that you want me to share and cover tomorrow, I'll be back on tomorrow. Hopefully around 11. It was a little bit later today because my husband mixed up the day that my son goes to kindergarten, so it's not all day, and he ended up driving him to school this morning just to realize that it's not today, it's tomorrow. So they alternate. So one week it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, other week it's Tuesday, Thursday. So we're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday week, and because yesterday there was no school, it was a prep day, he didn't go, but we thought it was today. So anyways, so I had to go drive to go pick him up from my husband's work. So by the time I got back and got everything ready, I'm hoping the sound is better and fixed. I might just test it out tonight on a private live stream that my husband can watch just to see if it scratches. But I think it's a little bit better because it was scratching a lot more. So maybe I just have to turn it down a little bit more and it will be better. But yeah, let me know if there's if there's things you're wanting me to cover, talk about, and if there's anything happening. I'm sure there's going to be more between now and January 20th when Trump takes over. There's going to be a lot more drama between Canada and the US and just in the US in general. I'm really excited to see what will happen once he takes power, when the Epstein list gets released, when the P. Diddy list gets released. Oh, also, I'm going to be covering soon. There's a lot of things that are being exposed. I honestly believe God is working in not just cleaning out house and government. I think he's doing it in the church as well. I'm going to be familiarizing myself a bit more with this particular story, but I have a friend who is going to be Laura Lynn, Tyler Thomas or Thompson, Laura Lynn. I just call her Laura Lynn, was going to be on Daystar's show. And then there's a bunch of controversy that's come out. There's been cover up of potential sexual abuse and such. So I'll be talking about sexual abuse in the church and cover up, and just about not government, God cleaning out house, exposing all of this. I've been calling for this to happen for a really long time. So we're seeing that there's been a lot more than just Daystar that it's happening. So I'll be weighing in on that and my thoughts as someone who's a trained profiler of pedophiles. So if you don't know, I'm a former police officer who's trained to interview and profile child sex offenders, so pedophiles and non-pedophiles who offend on children. And so yeah, I'll be weighing in on that issue. It's not just Daystar. There's been more, and I honestly believe that God is purifying the church. All this stuff needs to get out in the open and dealt with, and things put in place to stop it from happening again. And I think I'm supposed, in a way or another, to play a part in cleaning that up and getting churches to understand why it's so important to deal with it in the right way, which so many don't do. They just sweep it under the rug, which is the same thing that happened with this particular scandal, as well as others. I think in the next few years, you're going to see huge, massive house cleaning where all of this is not going to be able to be hidden anymore. It's all going to come out, and people are going to need to repent and repent, be convicted too. And yeah, and hopefully justice can occur for these victims, not just in a legal sense as well, but justice in the body of Christ, where these victims need to be protected after abuse, treated with dignity and respect, which we haven't seen, and we haven't seen in this particular case either. So yeah, I've been listening a lot as to what was happening in that. So I'm going to be covering that soon. I just want to familiarize myself more about with it, and then I want to offer as well a solution. If you're a faith leader, a church leader, if that's not the way, we know it's not the way of dealing with it, what is the right way of dealing with it? And a lot of churches don't know. They don't know, and they don't deal with it the right way, and that creates harm long term, not just for the victims, the family of the victims, or anyone else who's been victimized in the church that has never come forward. So yeah, I'll be addressing that, not just in the context of what's happening in the US. We're seeing that in Canada too. So we're seeing that in Saskatchewan too. So I think it's about time it gets addressed, and it's about time that people who have the professional training, who have the expertise and the knowledge, help churches on how to deal with this and what's the proper way, and giving these victims dignity and respect, and dealing with the problem, in the sense making sure it does not happen again. Yeah. So Amy Harris said it's the head of the church that orders cover up, shuffling the pedos around. Yeah, there is that, but there's more than just that. Is we can't just say it's all the leaders. The entire church needs to come together and agree with how it should be dealt with. And you'll always have people that will hide. And then not only that, it actually stops the victim from feeling comfortable to come forward, because they know what happened to others was likely going to happen to them again. The victim will probably be shunned, and not she'll probably stop going to church because her offender is still allowed in, and things like that. And that truly, I honestly believe the damage done by sexual sin like this being hidden has a greater reach in keeping people away from Christ than any other sin. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion. I was one of those people where the church didn't deal with my abuser. He was allowed to continue going. He was allowed to stay in the position he was in. And yeah, it made me atheist for most of my life, until I had a God encounter that changed everything, and I realized it wasn't God that did that. It's just people who follow the flesh. It's not what God wants for his people. It just shows our brokenness. But yeah, it not only kept me away, I would keep warning people, don't go to church, don't attend church. It's just a cult. They're just all evil. That's things that I would tell people. And yeah, that all changed when I came face to face with God himself, and my life was forever changed. Now I want to work on helping churches fix the issue that I think is actually hurting society more than any other sin. And why sexual sin, the one that's the most targeted, I think I had a discussion with someone because it's the one they say it's actually the one that's the most grievous because it's the sin that happens internally, not externally, and we are said to be the temple of the Holy Spirit. So our bodies are to be the temple of God, and our bodies should be purified if we're going to have God in us. And I think that's the biggest thing the enemy attacks because it's the biggest thing that directly affects your personal relationship with God. It's the biggest thing that causes the most damage with your personal relationship with Christ. And why wouldn't it be the thing that the enemy is going to attack the most? So, and it's the thing that the church avoids the most talking about. They don't want to talk about it. They want to pretend that it doesn't happen, that it's not a problem. They only about 7% of churches talk about sexual sin in the church. About 50% of pastors in churches have addiction to porn problem, have sexual sin problem. In the regular congregation, it's a little bit more, 67%. That's why they don't want to talk about it. It's one of the biggest problems, and it's a hidden sin. So most people don't even know about it. So if you can hide it and pretend everything's good, then you're okay. And I honestly believe that God is convicting and exposing and cleaning house, because until we see that happen, I don't think there's going to be true revival in the land and in the church. I don't think until we deal with our own inner problems, our own house, we will be able to deal outside of the house, because people don't want to talk about the issues. People don't have the courage to come forward and address sexual sin out in the world when they internally have that same struggle themselves. So yeah, they still have the power of the most pure, the children. It's so true. It's so true. It's one of the most damaging thing you can do to a child. And I know that from experience. So yeah, I'll be addressing that in the future. I did talk a little bit more about it today than I was planning on talking about it. But yeah, we'll be hopefully bringing awareness to it. I wanted to do a big episode on what churches can do, a video that more, maybe not live, but more recorded, edited, so that it's short, so that congregation can send their church leader, hey, I think we should incorporate these changes to protect children, to address this issue in the church, to have like a really easy, quick video that somebody can send that comes from a place of love and compassion as well. So I'm going to be working on that. I just don't have it all figured out. I'm not a pastor. And I think a big reason why I haven't done it yet is I don't feel that I'm at the level that I am to tell pastors what to do, or that at least that's what I thought. And the Lord kind of convicted me in the sense, like, so you think you know better than I as to what needs to be done, as the plan that needs to be done. So I had to actually swallow my own pride and say, well, if God is asking me to do this, then obviously he's given me the platform, the convictions, the knowledge, the experience that is needed to deliver that message in the way that he wants it delivered. So yeah, it's one of the things that I know is going to be a priority. I wanted to get familiarized with going live, talking about different issues. So we started this live daily show. But I think as the platform grows, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to bring awareness and influence change in that regards. So not just in government, there's a lot of authority and structures that need cleaning up, and it's not just the federal government. I think the church is one of those areas that needs cleaning up. And if this message convicts you, like, it's not an attack on the church. I think the church is needed, it's beneficial, but it is needed to be cleaned. And it's not on a particular church either. I think we all know, all of us can do better in this avenue. If you're not, first of all, if you're not talking about sexual sin in your congregation, you're already not doing what God is commanding you to do. It should be one of the main topics of conversation in every church, because it's one of the biggest sin problem that the church still has to this day that's being hidden. But yeah, I know this is a dark subject. Some people don't want to hear it, but it needs to be said. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep bringing awareness and hopefully influence some change so that children can be protected. And yeah, we'll see what will happen. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys go for now. It's already went over an hour. I don't think I'll ever be on time, especially when I have so much to share and talk about and bring awareness to. So, but anyways, have a nice day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully around 11. Again, I'm not going to stick to a specific time. Kids come first, so it'll all be what I can manage. See you guys.